What's new, first of all, music-wise?
You know,
I know you're always into some shit.
I'm excited about my new single. I finished my album. Well, I'm at the final stages. I'm finished. I have to turn my album in by April, but I feel like I'm done.
Okay, because before you had like an EP kind of.
EP, Discreet Luxury. Then I gave away an album for free called I Sin. Then I dropped a mixtape called El Presidente before that. So, what I really wanted to do was just kind of flood the market with music and really prove, consistency and really, and doing that, you kind of figure out your sound and which direction you want to go in. I think the gift and the curse is that I have the ability to do so much musically, and I mean this humbly. I'm not trying to stroke my own ego and say, I just feel like I can do so much. I have a history of doing all type of different music. So it was about finding where my comfort zone in my pocket, and I feel like I did that. I feel like with this record, with somebody else, is a good story that I'm telling with this album, a consistent story, and I just really I'm only interested from this point forward in creating music that I feel like is timeless. No right now stuff, and I think I've done a good job of doing that in my career as a songwriter, producer. I just want to keep that going as an artist.
I mean, what's the line between timeless and right now? Because it's not a clear line.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's a clear line, bro.
You think it's a clear line?
I think it's a very clear line.
Okay.
When you're making finicky music and just, trying to turn up, and it has no really real content, it doesn't evoke any type of emotion. Now, when I say that, I don't mean it necessarily has to be a serious record, or it can't be trap, or it can't be house, or it can't be this. I think sometimes people don't challenge themselves. They don't. For instance, Travis Scott does trap music, but he does it at a high quality. So I wouldn't consider what he does fluff or bullshit just because it's trap. But I think a lot of artists are just making songs just like right now, for the moment, about a drink, about smoking, about turning up, about partying. Oh, this girl, she got a fat ass, and it's not clever. I think when you make things that challenge, you could make a song about a stripper.
Right.
Ray Shrimmer has a song called "Somebody Come Get."
Like a straight
I think that's an anthem.
So you think that's a timeless song?
I believe that's a record. Whether it's timeless, that could be argued. But I think that they challenge themselves. And when I listen to their body of work, I don't feel like I'm using them. I want to make sure people clear what I'm saying. I don't want you to think that it's not cool to have fun and make records about fun. I think it's about challenging yourself and being clever. No Flex Zone to me is an anthem. When you look around, you see white kids all over the world, and they raving and they turning up and they doing all type of different remixes to it. No Type is such a clever song, and it's a well-written song. Yeah. So when I say that, I don't necessarily want people to think I mean because my record's somebody else or because of the things that I'm referring to. I don't want people to think that I'm saying don't have fun or don't be young or don't have crisscross jump. It's that's a forever song, but I just think
it doesn't really evoke emotion. But you have songs like It Takes
fun.
Two, that still gets played and
you feel nostalgic about when you hear it and all type of things. So I just think certain efforts put forward to being clever and challenging yourself and not just trying to make a tune that's catchy. I hate that word catchy. I hate trendy. I hate when people try to be, instead of just being creative and making things that they feel and that they're passionate about. People just want to do a record for right now. And even with artists, they don't even want to develop their own sound. They're just chasing this one sound. And
do you think someone really goes into the studio and say, I want to make a catchy record?
Yes.
And I'm trying to make as many of these.
Yes.
Really?
Because they come to me and ask for them.
They say, Rico,
man, I need one of them Ain't Worrying About Nothing that you did for French Montana. Bro, you need a hit. I would rather we get in the studio and make a record that means something.
So you had people say, I need a Ain't Worrying About Nothing.
What? Yeah. I rarely have somebody come to me and say, I need a There Goes My Baby. I rarely have people come to me and say, I need a Sweet Dreams. I rarely people come and say, I need a Just a Dream. I need it Without You. They don't. They want something right now. They want something that's, instead of letting that right now moment happen, I would rather have a moment that's forever. When I listen to We Found Love by Rihanna, I understand that song is going to be around forever. And it's a dance song and it's a club song and it's fun. But I listen to that lyric and I know that song going to be around forever. And I think that artists should challenge themselves. And I think right now people are just making music just to make it.
Okay.
They're not thinking about legacy and thinking about lasting forever. I know that I can be immortal. You can be immortal. You can live forever. Quincy Jones will never die.
Yeah,
Michael
that's true.
Jackson will never die. I don't even. Do you really honestly feel like Michael is dead? Who's ever seen Michael?
Yeah, you didn't see him before he
You
died.
didn't see him before he died.
Yeah, and when you saw him, he looked crazy. So
It's just like
Yeah.
I believe in immortality by living through timeless music.
Fair
And then
enough.
somebody will say to you, "But you made a song called Bitches Be Like." But listen to the subject and listen to the content. I was talking about the same thing Tupac was talking about when he made "You Wonder Why They Call You Bitch." Am I trying to compare myself to Tupac? No. For all you people who find everything wrong with everything I say. No, I'm not trying to compare myself to Tupac. I'm not trying to say compare the songs to each other. I'm just saying I wanted to evoke an emotion. I wanted to start a conversation. I wanted to talk about unfit mothers. I wanted to talk about women who rather spend money on going to the club than bettering their own lives. That's something important to me. I wanted to do it in a way where it was fun and it was catchy enough that I'm not using that word loosely. I would say catchy enough to capture your attention, not catchy in the trendy term. I'm not trying to be hypocritical with what I'm saying. But that song wasn't just me sitting in the studio saying, hey, let me think of a song that, no, that was me saying, I heard the chord progression, I heard the melody came to me, and I said, let me say something that really starts a conversation. There's a lot of shit I see going on social media. There's a lot of things going on with these reality shows, and I feel like people aren't, living honorable lives, and I think it's an effort for my part to kind of talk about it.
Well, I mean, in one way, you sort of have to take a step back and say, okay, when we were kids, it was very much of an album kind of culture.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want, like for example, like a little trick that MC Hammer did was when he released Can't Touch This, he refused to release it as a single. So, and then he ended up selling 10 million albums because people needed that song.
Wow.
And they had to buy the album.
I never knew that.
Yeah. That's something, me and him actually talked about that at one point.
That's genius.
Yeah. But these days, you have 1,000 new songs a day. They're all free to stream. I remember I was at SRC Records, and I'm not going to put any artists on blast, but we had situations where we had like gold and platinum singles, and then the album would sell 20, 30,000 for certain artists. It's like you don't have that type, and when I say that, you don't have that emotional investment that people are looking to do as much anymore. It does happen, like, J. Cole, like would do it, but a lot of times it's so single oriented, what do you really expect?
It's the same number of people who are extremely successful as before. It's just we're putting up a lot of bricks. And what I'm saying is our shooting percentage is down.
Okay.
That's all that means. The same amount of artists are being extreme. Back in the day, it wasn't a ton of artists that were extremely successful. There were a few. They were extremely successful with 15, 20 million albums sold and all that. That wasn't
remember Jive Records when they had that run with the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and R. Kelly? That was different. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I'm talking about, that was just like this pop wave sensation. And
That's
I
what
think,
I'm saying.
I can say
everyone was going diamond. Like,
what I'm trying to say is this.
Or remember like there was the run the Def Jam had where it was like Jay-Z, DMX, Ja Rule, DMX again, and you know what I'm saying?
And that was like you just named one entity, and then you named another whole entity. That was Def Jam, and then that was Jive, and that was two. It wasn't like everywhere. It was everybody else was trying to mimic them. Everybody else was trying to find their version of that. Okay. Right? We can agree on that.
Fair enough.
All right. What happens now is artists aren't making them. Radio is not allowing artists to be creative enough because a lot of times you won't be able to get your record played if it's not a certain tempo. So a lot of times these guys are chasing the same BPM, first, second, third single, the same record. Because they only care about
I've always
this.
found that odd, man.
Because
they have to create the
same song,
speed a song a certain type of way
to fit the format.
To fit a format. That seems so odd.
And that's what's happening nowadays, and that's what it happens, especially out here on the West Coast. No shade to the people out here, but a lot of times it's difficult for a record to get played if it's not a certain BPM out here. So that's why you got a lot of remixes. Even that All of You record with John Legend, the remix is what I think took it to the top. And no shade to him, it's an amazingly written song, but the remix is what. All right. So what's happening now? When people are making records, they're not making the type of music that a listener can listen to and say, who is that? They're making a song that's like, oh, that's a dope song. I'm going to go about my life. What's important about me and why I love my single, Somebody Else, is that the feedback I've been getting is like, who is that? I cried today when I heard that song. Yeah. I had guys hit me up like, yo, my nigga, you fucking it up, bro. You had me in my feelings about my shorty. Records need to do that.
Yeah.
And in order for us to spark the interest and people can grab a hold, if a person find an interest in me, they don't care about the single being number one. And I plan on my single being number one, by the way. But if they take an interest in you and they believe in you,
Right.
and they buy into your brand and what you do,
Right.
then everything else will fall into place. I look at what Cole is doing, I think it's amazing.
That's exactly
I look
what I
at
was
what
thinking.
Kendrick is doing, it's amazing. I look at what Drake is doing, it's amazing. I look at people who have these intense followings and they consistently give you a great song and they saying, regardless of whatever else, I'm gonna make sure I give you a great record, a great album. I'm not buying the song, I'm buying into you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a Kanye West album regardless because I love Kanye. And we're not giving people a chance enough to know the artist anymore because we're making records that don't start conversations. Purposely, I wanted They Don't Know to be my first single, and I wanted people to think it's about a side chick because that starts a conversation. Purposely, I wanted Bitches to be my second record because I wanted to start a conversation. I wanted people to be upset. I wanted people to be offended. I wanted people to understand the true meaning in it. I wanted people to love it. I wanted people to hate it. I wanted people to talk because dialogue. Now you got to keep saying my name. Now we got to keep talking about it. And that's what people don't do anymore. They make these safe ass records that they feel like, I've had records that hit and went number one and you didn't even know because they didn't feel like it because it was just going with the motions.
Right.
It wasn't a formula. It was a formula song and it wasn't soul. But I've also had records that was top 5, top 10 and you thought it was number ones because they made you feel a way.
Right.
That's what I think I want to focus on in music, and I think great artists should be doing that. Great artists should be singing great songs. We should be only developing artists or believing in acts that we feel like can go all the way and really kind of training their minds and their thoughts to understand that we can still sell albums if we put our mind to building and developing that act and not just that song.